Sir, the Sith Lord that you've been searching for, Darth Malus, has been spotted in the area by our sentry droids, and we've lost connection with it since then. Be careful, and may the Force be with you.
To you as well. What is that? Well, that was certainly unexpected. Gotta say, I didn't think you'd reveal yourself so soon. But that's fine. It'll just be sooner for me to finish you off.
Your years of retirement have truly taken a toll on you if you think it will be quite so easy.
Enough talk. Let's finish this.
You left yourself completely open. It's sad that it had to come to this. I can say honestly, I expected more of a fight, especially from you, Skywalker. But in the end, I guess it shows. You're really as weak as your father was. I honestly wish things could have been differently. You would have made a wonderful apprentice. What do you hope to accomplish of this? Revenge? Your father was weak. He didn't deserve to live under the name Skywalker. You could train under me. I will make you more powerful than he ever was. Join me. Never! Go through with it. You're just as weak as your father was. You wouldn't dare.
You're right. I couldn't do it. But I'm glad you stopped me. I almost let my anger get the best of me. Yeah, what is it?
Is it done, sir?
Yep, done and ready for pickup.
Wait, he is alive? Wow, sir, are you turning over a new leaf?
Quit your blabbering. Just get over here before he becomes conscious again.
Right away, sir.
Well, don't think I saved you because you think I'm like my father. Because one thing you should know is that I am nothing like my father. I just find it easier for you to be alive for the next step.
How's it going, everyone? My name's Joe Dorado.
And I am Andrew Canada, and welcome to the third episode of the second season of Film Juice, America's favorite show.
Of course.
Yep. Except for the American Idol, which they're bringing back.
That's wild.
I think
That's not
weird.
for this show.
No, I know.
That's wild.
I'm just saying.
That's crazy. Katy Perry. Ugh. But anyways, But anyways, so yeah. Welcome to the show. We got a sci-fi themed show today.
Yep. I hope you liked the opening there. That was a short that Joe did a couple years ago. Based on Star Wars, obviously, and the special effects in that. I mean, that's why we showed it, because the effects are really cool. You did a
Best
really good
part
job.
about it.
Probably.
Yeah. We also have a really cool skit or intro for next week that we're spending a little bit more time on. So that should be really cool. So I'm excited to show that. It's definitely the most ambitious thing we've done on the show. So that'll be cool to show. And it's based on one of the shows we're reviewing this week. So that'll be awesome.
Yep. All right. What's first on the list today, Joe?
So the first movie on the list today is Best Picture winner of the Oscars, Shape of Water.
Yep. And this movie, it came out a little while ago.
Yeah.
We didn't get a chance to review it because we were on our winter break, of course. But we thought, since it won Best Picture, and maybe there's still quite a few folks who haven't seen it, we would talk a little bit about it on the show today.
So basically, this show is about, this movie. Basically, this movie is about this girl. She's mute. She doesn't speak. And she lives with her one older friend. And she works at this government facility. And basically what happens is, at this government facility, they bring in this creature of, it's like this creature.
Man.
Yeah, the amphibian man. It's like the creature of the Black Lagoon or something like that. And they bring this creature in, and she discovers him, and he's getting tortured and experimented on, and she develops a bond for this creature, and it's
to put it mildly.
and then this one guy wants to keep her from keeping the creature and letting him free. So, and that's basically it, without spoiling anything.
First thing I would like to say about this movie, obviously, Guillermo del Toro won for Best Director.
Very good.
I think I like to think that was a close.
Close
race.
I think
but,
so.
I think it's deservedly so.
Yeah.
In his case, one of the things in particular that I love about this film is the use of color to tell the story.
Yeah.
Is something that I think, especially some other films this year, particularly Three Billboards and Lady Bird, which were two phenomenal films, and they did a lot of things expertly. But what I like about The Shape of Water is the colors of everything mean something.
Yeah.
You know what
that's very true.
To me.
The green that's used,
Yep,
and the
pretty much
teal
the whole
thing.
movie is green.
Yeah. But it's very important, especially to Michael Shannon's character, who does that all the his character is very against the color green.
Exactly,
because of the monster.
Which I love that, because the whole movie is impossibly green.
Yeah.
I mean, especially Sally Hawkins' character, Eliza. I mean, she's literally wearing green all the time, except towards the end of the movie when she starts to wear more red, because obviously she's getting in love with the fish man. But the only place where green is not overtly present is when we go into Michael Shannon's character's house. Yeah. It's all yellow.
It was.
Which, of course, reflects his obsession with the creature and stuff like that.
I don't think her friend's house was yellow. Or was green either, though.
Oh, yeah. I
don't think that was green.
She was kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was a cool touch,
part.
and I think that was a really cool idea that he brought in. And another thing that Del Toro does so well is he does this genre very well. He does the genre of fantasy or sci-fi very well. He directed the Hellboy movies, and both of those are very well done and very good. And actually, the same guy who plays the amphibian person in that is in this. It's crazy.
Excuse me, Doug Jones.
Yes. Yeah. And he does a great job, especially.
Super interesting character. I imagine to play.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of when Andy Serkis does roles like that. But
I would agree.
He didn't even speak in this role, and that's another big thing about this movie is the visual storytelling that this movie does with the colors and everything. But even just with cinematography and acting, is phenomenal. It is some of the best visual storytelling I have seen in a long time, and it's definitely the best visual storytelling I've seen this year, I'd say. Maybe Blade Runner 2049 or a film like that.
But this is definitely very high on that list.
Yeah, and I think it's, and in part, it's because of the main characters acting and the creatures acting, because they don't speak. It's all just in the face, and I think acting with not being able to say anything is a very difficult thing to do, and she always 100% puts out her emotion, and you always know what she's thinking and what's going through her head, and I think it was very well done, and it was awesome. It really was.
Yeah, I agree. Another thing that I liked about this movie was a small thing, but I haven't heard anybody talk about it, is the placement of subtitles. Because Sally Hawkins' character, of course, as you said, she's mute. She speaks sign language. So when she's doing her sign language, her subtitles don't appear at the bottom of the screen as they normally would.
Yeah.
They appear usually close to her mouth. So I didn't notice that. Like a speech bubble almost. And that
was pretty cool.
Phenomenal, I think, because it really, it really makes them more personal. Because obviously she is saying the words, she's signing the words.
Yeah.
But I think that it makes it more natural for the audience
to
really feel like these are her words.
Yeah.
And then you can juxtapose that with because Russian is spoken at some points during the film. And when Russian is spoken, that's all at the bottom.
Now that you mention that, that is a very good point. That's crazy.
Her character, and it's a really nice touch.
That is really cool.
Yeah, I've never seen it before.
I think it might be. I think when the monster does sign language, that might be the same thing with him.
Yeah, it is. But
that's cool.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Along with the sign language, the sign language is used as her voice very well too, because of when she's like yelling or something, like she can't yell, but the way she uses her actions and the way that she has the other person reacting, and she even like sign languages repeat what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And when the person repeats,
that was a really interesting choice.
Yeah.
Because what she's saying at that time is very emotional, and it's very fundamental to the film itself.
Yes.
So it was an interesting choice to have Richard Jenkins, who plays this character.
Yeah.
Giles.
He was very good.
He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
He was very good.
Year.
And one thing I'd have to say about this movie that surprised me the most is this movie, out of everything, it had heart.
It did.
This movie was very, very, I think it was pretty heavy hitting, and it was surprising because I didn't think it would be, especially with the circumstances. It's about a girl who falls in love with a fish man.
That's the thing that I think right from the beginning Del Toro realized and did very well, because you're right. Ultimately, if you minimize this plot down, if you deconstruct it completely, at its center, it's just about a woman who falls in love with a big fish.
Yeah.
So how do you get the audience to accept that as a possibility or as reality? And I think from very the beginning, this might sound weird, but there are parts of this movie that are very sensual. And he does a really good job right off the bat of making, I know this is going to sound weird, but for lack of a better way to say it, of making water sexual.
Yeah. No. And I think I see that point, and I think they really show that in the end of the movie with how they just tie everything back together. I thought that was really cool. But no, it was sum it up though, I was very surprised by this movie. It was a heavy hitter. I felt sad throughout most of it, and it was just because these characters are so well done. Yeah. And not to mention, really quick, that Michael Shannon just killed it.
He always does. What a passionate actor.
Every scene, and it was amazing. But what would you rate this movie?
I would give it an 8.5, because while I find the directing exceptional, beyond exceptional, and just the idea of it and what he was able to do, really quite the feat.
Yeah.
I think that certain elements of the leaning towards fantasy were just too strange and unnecessary.
Okay.
But 8.5 is a good score.
Yeah, no, that is. I'd have to give it 9 juice boxes out of 10. But it didn't get a 10 for me because tonally, this movie gets violent at times, and it's fine, but sometimes he just goes a little more overboard than you're expecting, and it kind of throws you off, honestly. I don't know, he just kind of throws tone like out the window at some points.
Okay, I can see that.
But yeah, but it was a very good movie, and I think it deserved best picture, and yeah, go see it.
Tough race this year, but
it was no.
Anybody could have won.
But anybody could have won.
Good choice.
It was a good choice. So yeah.
All right, we'll be right back, everybody, with some more film juice. Stick around.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul.
You've messed up your son's haircut. Do you try to fix it? Work with what you've got? Or show solidarity?
Thank you, babe.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
Había un niño que era muy sensible a luces y sonidos. Construía escondites donde no podían entrar. No le gustaba mirar a la gente a los ojos. Lo hacía sentir incómodo. Un día se descubrió que tenía autismo. Con ayuda, poco a poco, aprendió a vivir mejor con ello.
Mientras más pronto se diagnostique, mejor. Conoce las señales en autismspeaks.org.
Your son wants to get a cat, but you're allergic. Do you A, prepare yourself, B, make the best of it,
C squared equals
25.
Good job!
or C, find a loophole? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
We cannot be bystanders.
We can stop to make sure someone is okay.
We can warn someone when their drink isn't safe.
And disrupt the situation.
We can.
Get someone a cab.
Or walk them home safely.
We can make campuses safer for our friends.
Our roommates.
Our classmates. Our fellow human beings.
We cannot be bystanders.
We can. Intervene.
It's on us.
All of us.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Took a quick break there.
Yeah.
But we are back with you and ready to talk about something very exciting.
Yeah. There's this new Netflix original show that came out called Altered Carbon. It's a sci-fi show. Takes place in the far future.
Very far future.
And it's basically about this character who comes back to life in this world because death doesn't really exist in the world anymore because you can now like upload your consciousness to these stacks.
That's right.
And That's basically like...
It's like a little computer chip kind of thing. The look of them is really cool because it's sort of, it looks like a combination of organic and cyber.
No, yeah.
Like goes in your neck and that exists your
And
consciousness.
basically, basically he gets brought back to life after like 1,000 years or something, or like 100 years or
200
something.
years.
200 years, yeah. He gets brought back to life, and he is set on the case to figure out who murdered this really, really rich guy, like the richest guy like on the planet.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's basically it. And if he solves the murder, he gets his life back.
Yeah.
And a bunch of money and stuff. So that's the whole plot of the show.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You told me about this show like last week, I think.
It came out like 2 months ago, or
It
a
came
month
out.
ago.
It came out in February.
Okay.
At the beginning of February. So
Oh,
about a
not
month
too
ago.
long ago.
And I was like, okay, I'll check it out. But I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Honestly. And it's based on a book or a series of books by Richard Morgan. And they were, adapted by Leida Kalogridis. I don't know how to say the last name. But as far as science fiction shows goes, I think that especially in the past, 5 years maybe, there haven't been a ton of really good ones.
No, I agree.
Obviously, you have sci-fi original programming that puts that out nonstop.
Yeah.
And while those are usually have ideas that are really interesting, a lot of those sci-fi originals, either sometimes the writing is a little subpar and the acting almost always is. But this is just, I don't know, it was just really exciting to see it done so well.
It was done really well.
Such a cool premise. And not only, obviously, the stacks, what people hold their consciousness in is the main technology at the center of this show. A 10-episode series. But the smaller things that they show, and we were talking about this a little earlier, just the way that they have imagined technology.
Yeah. Very well done.
Is incredible.
The ideas they play with in the show are so well done, and it's not even like the main drive of the show. That's a really cool part of the show, but surprisingly, this show has more going on than just like cool ideas. Like the acting's surprisingly well done.
I think for most Netflix shows, like they know who to get.
Yeah.
And that's and we can talk about that.
And the story gets a little convoluted like towards the end. But it's still really good, I'd say.
Yeah. And one of the main things about the show is because your consciousness, is in this little thing. People switch bodies
all the time. Yeah.
They call them skins at this point because they're basically just like suits.
Yeah, like
that
you don't
wear.
Exactly.
Which is interesting. And when you were telling me about this show for the first time, and I saw it, of course, when I watched it, is that the main character, his original skin or the body that he was born in, was Asian.
Yeah.
And the one that he gets put into when he comes back to life is a white guy.
Yeah.
And the way they play with that is really curious.
The way they deal with that situation
and just people being able to switch bodies as a whole.
Yeah, no, and it messes with you. And the way they show it and these actors play it is really cool as well. It's just...
That is one of the things about this show, in terms of acting at least, that I really, really liked because, people are like switching bodies and stuff like that. This one character in particular who, when they first show him, you think he's just going to be kind of like a biker thug.
Oh, yeah.
But he ends up having to play a Hispanic grandmother.
Yeah, he plays so many different roles.
There's all those different roles, and it's just...
It's wild.
It's really, really cool.
It really is. And I don't know, just the whole way they deal with, like, death in this show is really interesting because it is. Because you don't die unless your stack gets destroyed.
Yeah.
So the body of your sleeve can die.
Like we said, it's just like clothes pretty much.
Yeah, so like if you get shot, if your sleeve gets shot in the heart, you're gonna die, but you're not really dead because your stack is still there, and they can just take your stack.
Which I know sounds really confusing when we're talking about it right now.
And they can just take your stack.
But it works in the show, and it's
so cool. Yeah,
it's so cool.
And
I can't recommend this show enough, honestly.
And one of the other cool things that this show does is, other than the idea about life, is technology. Technology is really cool. There's hotels that are actually alive. Like the hotel, the entire hotel is a
run by
robot, is an AI.
program.
And this show also does the thing with AI where it makes them feel very real, and you actually feel for the AI.
Yeah, we
and
talked about this a lot
interesting
today.
thing.
I know one of well, I should say the main AI in the television show.
He's so good.
Yeah, played by Chris Connor.
Amazing.
Is phenomenal.
It's
And they do
one of the
different
best
things
characters.
to sort of differentiate him from the other AIs that you see. But
Yeah.
that's just another one of those things. And this will bring us into something that I know we'd both be a little remiss if we didn't bring up how there are a fair amount of similarities between this show and Blade Runner.
Yeah, there are. There are a few. Even world design, I'd say.
Oh, I
very
agree.
much. That's probably the most similar thing
and
about it.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because obviously both combine science fiction and noir.
Yeah. Some of the shots are really well done in this too, which I was
Yeah.
surprised. I think this is like this. It's kind of like it's a science fiction noir, and it's really interesting how they make it work.
It's cool to see that in
in
a television
yes,
program.
in a show, not just a
throughout
movie.
Several different,
yes.
Throughout several different episodes.
The character progression's really well done. I'd say the twists are. I didn't see some of them coming. Actually, I didn't see a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of them. The action scenes in this show are amazing.
Really cool, really well shot, and they vary all the time from
some of the best action scenes
in battles, firefights,
to
hand-to-hand combat, and so like we were talking about earlier, some of the best action scenes that I've seen
on
since
Netflix.
season 1 of Daredevil.
It's insane. It really is, and it was just I don't know. It's just so cool. I love shows that take an idea like this and just I don't know bring it to life in a good way. Yes, and yeah, some of the ideas they deal with, like they deal with VR and like torture,
which is obviously something that's very present.
Yeah,
right now for all of us.
Very well done. Very well done.
So
I can't recommend it enough.
No, me neither.
Yeah, so I don't know what else to say other than it's amazing. I'd have to rate it an 8 out of 10 juice boxes. I really enjoyed the show. There are issues with the show, like pacing wise and
mostly towards
the story.
The very end, I would say.
Yeah, and the ending is a little but it was a very good show nonetheless. Can't recommend it enough. So 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I
juice
agree.
boxes.
I think people should definitely watch it, and it hasn't yet been renewed for a second season, I don't think.
No, I thought it had.
Oh, good. Okay, because and it's kind of up in the air about what that'll be.
Yeah,
but I would also give it an 8, and hopefully it comes back for another season.
Yeah,
and is just as cool. So if you have Netflix and you're looking for something to watch, I mean,
it's really good. It's really worth your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
All right, we'll be right back with our last segment, Throwback of the Week. Don't miss it.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul.
You've messed up your son's haircut. Do you try to fix it? Work with what you've got? Or show solidarity?
Thank you, babe. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans. Because love has no labels.
Había un niño que era muy sensible a luces y sonidos. Construía escondites donde no podían entrar. No le gustaba mirar a la gente a los ojos. Lo hacía sentir incómodo. Un día se descubrió que tenía autismo. Con ayuda, poco a poco, aprendió a vivir mejor con ello.
Mientras más pronto se diagnostique, mejor. Conoce las señales en autismspeaks.org.
Your son wants to get a cat, but you're allergic. Do you A, prepare yourself, B, make the best of it,
C squared equals
25.
Good job.
or C, find a loophole? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
We cannot be bystanders.
We can stop to make sure someone is okay.
We can warn someone when their drink isn't safe.
And disrupt the situation.
We can.
Get someone the cab.
Or walk them home safely.
We can make campuses safer for our friends.
Our roommates.
Our classmates, our fellow human beings.
We cannot be bystanders.
We can. Intervene.
It's on us.
All of us.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Oh, we're back. Great.
Oh my gosh, what do you got? Whatever. Welcome back, everybody, to Film Juice. The final film that we're going to be talking about tonight, our Throwback, is an excellent movie. 1979's Alien. If I whispered that too quietly. Excellent movie, Joe. I know this is one of your favorite films.
Oh, so good.
And so, if you have not seen Alien, it's a science fiction horror film. There is a ship that works for some sort of company known only as The Company.
Yeah.
Sent on a mission into deep space, sort of exploring and looking for resources, things like that. They stumble upon a couple of mysterious eggs.
Yep.
And an alien monster terrorizes the ship.
Yep.
And so on and so forth. And Sigourney Weaver's character, Ripley, has to try and escape with her life.
Yeah.
While simultaneously trying to destroy this alien that is like the ultimate killing machine.
Yes. Where to start with this movie? This movie is one of the best horror movies ever made, in my opinion. I think it's definitely one of the best. It set so many precedents for horror films.
Exactly.
It did so many things that horror films never did before, and it did them so well. And I still think this movie holds up with those principles to this day. And the one big thing about this movie is the use of practical effects. It is this was the golden age of practical effects.
Absolutely. In many ways, it's a lost art. So.
Yeah, and the way they use it is amazing, and it looks great. It doesn't look corny
Not at all.
There's one that the alien guy is it's a costume dude. So there's scenes where it's like, okay, that's it's an older movie and that's fine, but when it comes down to it, most of every single practical effect is done amazingly.
Just awesome. The thing that's interesting about this movie, one of the many things to me, is that the two most popular film genres in 1979 were science fiction movies and horror movies. And then Dan O'Bannon comes around and decides to write a movie that combines both of them.
Yeah. It was
a smash. It was a smash hit. Obviously, you add that in with, director Ridley Scott.
Amazing.
Can't beat him.
Amazing. And one of the coolest things about this movie is the alien. Yeah. The alien is one of the coolest monsters in a movie ever. It is such a unique monster. It's so it's so well known today that it's just recognized everywhere. Yeah. You know what it is, and that's just how iconic it is what I'm trying to say. And it's such a unique design and such a cool design, and it really worked for this movie. And it's terrifying. It's a terrifying thing. Yeah.
Another thing that I love about this movie, obviously, to set it apart from other science fiction films, it is combined with horror. But most science fiction films you watch, particular example, but not only example, 2001: Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
That movie, obviously, one of the best things about it is the way it's shot.
Yeah.
But in pretty much, in every single frame of 2001 is symmetrical.
Yeah.
Symmetry is always used for futuristic things.
I agree, yeah.
But not in this.
No.
Everything is a little
Yeah.
off.
And
that obviously adds to the horror element. And I just find that to be a genius choice.
It is, and I think that's thanks to Ridley Scott. And
Yep,
Ridley
I
Scott this was when, this is like one of his, was this one of his first hits or his like first big hit?
This was, as far as filmmaking, I think so, because he did that Apple commercial.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
like his big break.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he did this, he makes movies look amazing. Just by him directing them, he makes them look, like every movie he directs, it looks
agree.
phenomenal.
A lot of times, and also in this movie, in certain scenes, particularly when they're discovering the eggs, I think a lot of credit is due to Derek Van Lint, the cinematographer on this project. But in this particular case, I would say because a lot of things that make this movie so great have to do with camera placement and movement.
Yes.
Ridley Scott.
It was
I also think that the argument could be made that this movie helped to inspire I suppose not as much now, but the found footage fad of horror films.
Oh.
Because of one sequence in particular.
Yeah.
The point of view shots from the space suits is obviously very it's handheld and everything.
That was cool.
So I do feel that for something like Blair Witch Project, obviously.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things about this movie is I love horror, and I think this movie did it perfectly. And I think this was one of the first movies that did it really, really well. What I'm about to say did really, really well, which is suspense, with sound. And
the sound of this movie,
the sound is insane, and the way that you incorporate it to make you afraid is insane, because there's this like little radar gun that radar thing that tells Ridley where the monster is, and there's this sound that it makes. It just goes beep, 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 and when it gets closer, it starts going crazy, and it is one of the most terrifying sounds in this movie, because you know that thing is coming. Whenever she's walking around and all of a sudden you just hear beep, beep.
It's almost like a minimalistic version of the Jaws soundtrack.
Yes,
which is more impressive in this case because again it is so much more.
I completely agree with that. Yeah,
but it has a similar, if not a better effect.
Yeah, and along with the sound and just how the movie is just
this is
went
a
around.
Movie that I
it's
think
just
a lot of and a lot of science fiction movies in particular I think do this, but compared with other films, this is a movie where the sound is just as important as the visuals.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Both are immaculate.
I completely agree, and I think they all make this movie amazing. And they really just crank the tension in this movie. Like it's crazy because it's nothing but her and trying to survive, and she's on a space. It's claustrophobic. And the way they show that is really cool. It's really good, and it's a great start to a great franchise. Like the first two are really good.
The third one's not bad.
The third one's not bad either. It's after that where it starts to get a little iffy. But yeah, the first two are amazing. The third one's not bad. But yeah, no, it's just insane. And the acting's really good. Really, Sigourney
Weaver.
She's amazing.
It's interesting because, there are only a few characters to begin with in this film. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
So there's not a ton of dialogue. But I think that the way it's edited also gets a lot of point across about her character, but the action is written for her as well. They managed to do a lot of characterization in just a very small area.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Completely agree. But yeah.
What do you give it?
I'd have to give it a 9.5. The only reason why it's not a 10 for me is probably because of some of the things that didn't age well. like most of this whole movie ages well.
Yes.
But there is just a few things that don't age well, and you're like, that could. And it's partly just the time. And it's not really its fault, but it's just something to like. It's just a nitpick, to be honest. But that's one reason why I wouldn't say this movie's perfect.
Okay. And I'll probably have to give it a 9. I would say. I think would be my rating for it. Yeah, like 9, 9.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would go for.
It was.
But it's. I mean, God, what an excellent movie. Keeps you paying attention the whole time. If you haven't seen it, you have to check it out.
It's really good,
Yeah.
and we didn't really spoil much,
No, I don't
which
think
we
we
usually,
spoiled anything.
which we do
We never
usually.
spoil anything.
Well, for throwbacks,
Oh yeah, for throwbacks.
Yeah, for
but-
throwbacks we usually don't care, but this one and the Prestige, we didn't really say anything. So you
No,
should
but
see,
I mean, yeah.
you should see them. They're really good. They're
Definitely.
worth a watch.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
we don't have a show next week because
No.
we will be on our break, but we'll be coming back from that with with a lot of great movies.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe we'll actually be like out of the lull. We've been in a lull for movies, so
Yeah, I
hopefully
know.
we'll get out
We'll
of the
see.
slump.
They'll be coming
Yeah.
back up. All
So,
right,
yeah.
everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time at the movies.